everybody. Okay, so good morning, everybody. My name is Miguel Figueroa. I am the investments principals at the UNWTO, and welcome to Madrid. And thanks so much for your patience. And we are waiting for different people that are traveling from overseas. As you can imagine, some of them are just arriving. So thank you so much for your patience. Just to get started, some logistical issues. There are different people that are helping in this event. So my colleague Ismail is over there. He will be helping you with anything you might need in regards to the restrooms or water or coffee. And then Diana is over there as well, okay? And Gabby, thanks. Okay, I will start just to have an introduction as people come along. Can you pull the presentation, please? It's not working, the pointer. This is the first hybrid event that the UNWTO is doing in this week. So as you can tell, there are some technical issues. And it's a challenge as well, but it helps us to improve in this time as well. We have been doing several webinars over the past 6 months, and it's been really interesting how people get used to it and how productive we become in this time. So this is a new phase in this time. Okay, we are ready to go. Thank you so much. Okay, just to get started, welcome to Madrid. As you can remember from the times we travel and we enjoy and we gather together, we remember these kind of pictures. Remember that time? Hopefully we'll have now the same after this event. And it's been a journey, right? So many of you know the impact of this pandemic. Since the outbreak, we have seen different changes. And for instance, just to remember the busiest travel day back in summer 2019, we had almost 300,000 flights flying all over the world. And with the restrictions, we have almost 6,000 in April 2020. So it's been really, really complicated. And what I want to show you with this picture is that tourism is a labor-intensive activity, right? We are connected through the human kindness, the human experiences, the assets that the countries might have in their places. And also for me, that I don't come from the tourism sector, it was really amazing to understand how the value chain of tourism sector works. And I was really surprised that there are so many industries within the sector. There are about 12 industries. Of course, the biggest are related with transportation, accommodation, food and beverage, and so forth. And it's super interesting to me to see that is one of the industries that employs almost 60% of people under 35%, for example, right? And for every dollar that the tourists spend overseas, there is almost $1 in the local economy that is being spent as well. So it's very, very powerful. And many times we are not able to measure the inputs of tourism. So as a consequence of the pandemic, the tourism sector has been one of the sectors that has been hit the most, as you can imagine. In terms of international tourist arrivals, we have a drop of almost 80%. We lost almost 120 million jobs that are at risk during this time. So these kind of events are very important to understand what can we do, right? So Just going to the specifics, since we are talking about investments, this is one of the pictures that you can take and remember. We are losing almost 80% of our foreign direct investments in tourism, right? This is data from the Financial Times that we partnered for this event. That Juan might speak about this before, but just to show you, for instance, over the last 4 years, the tourism sector has been like running up in all-time highs, and as we are developing different experiences, as we are digitalizing the sector, but of course with the pandemic, this dropped in almost 75%, right? And this is just considering the foreign direct investments. There's other forms of investments that have not been measured, and the outputs of the capitals have not been measured in this time. So this is just like the most accurate picture that we can get, but I would say that is more than that, as you all know, right? So according to the scenarios, because we are not developing any projections at the UNWTO at this moment because the uncertainty of it, we are developing different scenarios in this time. So we have 2 scenarios, and still is very challenging, as you can tell. And what we are projecting is like the tourism sector will recover between 2.5 and 4 years to the all-time highs. So all of this information is very important to me, and of course that I want to transmit to you, because I want personally to help me with your knowledge and your insights to understand what can we do in this gap, right? What are the strategies, what are the measures that we can take to fill this gap between these times of the pandemic and the all-time highs that we were supposed to have back in 2019. That is why we are developing this set of webinars. This is the first hybrid event, as I was mentioning at the beginning. So I'm very excited for this event because it's also with you here. We have different people from I think, 12 countries. We have a limited capacity, of course, but I'm glad that you came. And some people are flying actually from this morning, so extra patient for you, and extra kindness and strength in this time. So my biggest request for you is to understand, to take this data, but also to think what can we do together, right? One of the things of the pandemic has taught us this time is that we actually can work better in collaboration, and it was one of the barriers was like dropped really strongly during this time. So I believe this is an opportunity for collaboration, and we are developing this agenda based on these assumptions. So this is what we are going to be covering today. We will have 4 workshops and 1 case study. The first set of workshops will be focused on the foundations and these fundamentals. How can we enable the tourism sector again to understand the value chains and the impact of tourism, and some trends as well. So Natalia will be presenting in a minute these trends on the tourism sector. We have also Bosniak Skalar, the executive director from WIPA. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited about that because we developed a set of guidelines on the strategies to safeguard investments during this time. So it's the first time that we are developing some reports together. So we are trying to make these partnerships very tangible during this time. So you are the first one that are having this report. It was literally printed on Friday. So it has some challenges, some improvements to be done, but it's the first time that we are developing this report together. So you have all this information in your gift bags, and yeah. So we will start now with Bosniak first. Oops. We will start with Bosniak during this time, and then we continue with the agenda. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, I'm lucky to be able to put the mask down, so Yeah. To be honest, I'm a bit nervous. It took a long time now that I'm firstly presenting in I'm used to present in front of, you would imagine, big audiences, but now, of course, it's a bit an interesting thing that we are now sitting here, a couple of people, and the rest are online, but nevertheless, I'm very glad and thankful to UNWTO, Miguel and Natalia and the team, and especially Secretary General Pololikashvili, because UNWTO is a new WIPA consultative member. We have a OECD, we have World Bank, we have all the UN agencies inside to help us, let's say, spread the idea of investment promotion among all the different stakeholders. And as Miguel mentioned, the first paper that we did together is this report, and I will try to touch upon a bit about what our colleagues were studying and what kind of research they did. And of course, FDI Intelligence provided the data, which we all know the data is the thing which is crucial in making the right decisions. My name is Boštjan Skalar. I am the Executive Director of WIPA. I will just briefly say 1 minute. WIPA is a World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies from Geneva. It's established from UNCTAD, so from United Nations. It's been part, let's say, about 7 years, and gathers all the investment promotion agencies, mainly, I mean, national ones from all around the world, which are, many of them are also responsible for tourism. So that's why we believe that it's important that WIPA and UNWTO join forces and work together. So let's try to get, okay. So what I would like to present today, and by the way, of course, warm welcome as well to the audience that is participating online. We've been so much used to being online, we overnight switched everything, all the activities, trainings, webinars, even the, let's say, meetings, general assembly, everything. It's a big challenge. For me, it's personally as well, it's good to explore the hybrid event. We plan to do this year together with UNCTAD a huge event in October in Abu Dhabi, which normally gathers 6,000 people. And there will be as well WIPA World Investment Conference there. But how to do it, I saw there are some challenges, but I really commend and applaud to UNWTO to make a, let's say, hybrid event. And obviously this will be some kind of future for all of us. So what I would like to present will be, let's say, of course, COVID is the word that flies around. We like it or we don't like it. And obviously it's impacting the whole investments and impacting as well the tourism. One of the most affected, let's say, negatively impacted sectors were, of course, tourism and related activities that are going on together with tourism. So I'll go around tourism industry outlook a bit. Importance of investment promotion agencies. Of course, I would focus on investment promotion agencies as we are the institution who represent them, and how they were helpful and they are still helpful, and what are the predictions for the future to alleviate these negative impacts on the investments. And how to safeguard tourism investments during COVID-19, which is, a lot of this is written in the paper. As Miguel said, it's not totally final, but we wanted at least to show that what we did, and there are good insights, maybe just design-wise we need to improve a bit, but otherwise it's pretty well done. So what is also important is, especially, I was having an interview before, so what do we do actually to showcase to the investors that they will come back? So it's a trust. And by this purpose, I as well decided to go and travel. We should showcase that travel is possible, the protocols are there, maybe they need some improvements, there are some challenges and issues, but we do believe that the trust is the most important for any investor to decide to invest into any kind of location. And how we know, I used to come from business. When I was traveling around as a tourist, then I might have been seeing some opportunities. And when the people start to travel, for example, beautiful Madrid, going around, seeing the infrastructure, seeing the opportunities, seeing what can be done actually in the future. And this is, I guess, what we need to focus, let's say, in the first place to reboost again the investments. Let me skip. It doesn't go. It went, but up to here.
Give me a second, yes, please, because of the crash.
Sure. So if you have any questions, please just do stop me in between, because I believe interaction also matters a lot. What I'm missing recently that we are having all online is as well interaction. As you know, in the Zoom, who will say something, and we are all a bit tired. It's making us, let's say, it's like kind of fatigue process, you know, and then we can't interact. Because what I believe is we are all together in the same boat. So we need to join forces, put the hands together, even if it's just like that, and do something together for the future of investments. And tourism, as we heard, was going down, let's say 75%, but I believe Miguel was unfortunately right. In some parts of the tourism as well, it went, I would say, even more. And if we need to, let's say, change this, we should really work hand in hand together. So I hope now I will try to see it now, my presentation here from the paper, and I can explain, and later I will show it.
One question for you.
Sure, please.
So from the web-up perspective, what
Yes.
is the key message that you would like to transmit to every IPA in every country trying to, you know, find that sort of new momentum within tourism or any sort of investment attraction?
I guess this is an excellent opportunity for IPAs to revisit their strategies, to see what are the challenges, to identify the challenges and identify the strengths, and to look at inside and check. So where are we good? What can we change? How we can utilize the, let's say, digitalization, because we know that this is still a big challenge actually. So what we will do with this one? Okay. So what can we do actually to keep the trust from the investors? And I believe the most important currently is aftercare activities and advocacy. So it means if we see the investment cycle is the retention. So the existing investors should feel good, should be as less as possible negatively impacted because of pandemic, and this will give the showcase to the others as well to think what to do. I'm sure from all of our, let's say, activities and surveys, it's very clear that there is a need to make more lean organizations. Value propositions will change most possibly as well in the tourism. We hear a lot now, let's say, maybe more boutique tourism, local tourism, which helped actually in the last year enormously. Governments were giving a lot of, let's say, some coupons or something that the people were traveling. If I come from Slovenia, we did as well. Our government, let's say, gave to people 250 euro that they can spend for, let's say, overnight stand. So what IPAs needs to do is to rebuild the trust of investors, to keep the eye on the existing ones, and to slowly in parallel check what is the future bringing, how we can utilize the technology, how we can, let's say, make a better value proposition that the investors will still, let's say, be able to come. So I hope it answers, yeah. Yeah. So let's try again. So as I'm sure you as well, in your recent report I saw, it says like investors are likely to step back from the allocation, especially to greenfield projects. To be honest, this is not so good news, because greenfield projects are normally the best indicator of, let's say, investment trends. But this is the reality. So obviously, for greenfield, you need to go to the, let's say, location. You need to check with your own, let's say, you should touch base the ground and to see what's the infrastructure there, what are the, let's say, opportunities, what kind of talents are in that particular country. But nevertheless, still, I guess there are opportunities, and we see the inventiveness of, let's say, all institutions that promote tourism that shifted literally over the night and created some platforms to help to the one-side governments to be able to feed them with the proper information what the investors, let's say, existing investors need, what the future is requiring from, let's say, the host country. And of course, being in touch with the, let's say, potential investors and try to give them, let's say, some certain trust that they will be coming. So an opportunity to re-image investments in the sector, as I said already when answering to you, revisiting the strategies, re-image the investments in the sector. Maybe now there is a time locally for the governments actually to put some certain, let's say, assets to infrastructure as well, to rebuild actually the existing facilities, to be prepared, because I'm sure the people are waiting to jump on the planes actually when everything, all the protocols will be fine. So we should now use this opportunity to go further actually, to prepare the circumstances. So this pandemic also opened up investment opportunities, as I said, digitalization, safety, health, okay, air quality, as you know, and then, of course, now we are contributing with the footprint, I guess, with CO2, which is not bad. So we should take it as a positive. Biosecurity, sustainability, you all know that all institutions, WIPA as well, UNWTO, we are all committed to 2030 agenda, so the Sustainable Development Goals. So the pandemic helped us. The pandemic also helped us to be, let's say, more connected as a people, which I guess is as well a positive effect of the pandemic, and we should use this as a, let's say, driving factor for the future. Okay. So the drivers, as a tourism industry outlook, the drivers that also are mentioned here that we believe can incentivize investment in a post-COVID tourism. So new consumer behavior, so how the people will, let's say, behave in the future because of the pandemic and negative impacts. How, let's say, innovation and technology would help. We are now in the building where I guess it's all about the startups and innovations. And we can see also innovative environment here, even for this hybrid event. Technology, so all this kind of even artificial intelligence, webinars, all these Zooms that we are, as we said, tired, but nevertheless it at least helped us to keep the pace going on. Travel tech startups, green investments. I mentioned before, green investments, I believe it's one of the, let's say, buzzwords that we should follow. Investing more into green, let's say, investments, into green travels. Okay, there are some initiatives that the people should go only with trains around. I don't think this will be possible, especially for the business and for investments. The flights will need to be resumed and the people will need to fly, but still, green investments into, let's say, green infrastructure, all these kind of things that contributes as well to the environment. There will be, as we said, that there is not so many greenfield, then will be, let's say, mergers and acquisitions, which normally are not so favorable in the FDI. At least governments are not favoring so much, and in IPAs, to be honest, are not focusing on the cross-borders mergers and acquisitions. But obviously now they will need to, let's say, readjust and also focus on this kind of, let's say, investment opportunities. So importance of investment promotion agencies. As you can see, I mean, investment promotion agencies are the, let's say, crucial bodies which are in between the governments and the private sector, so and the investors. And they are actually the one who can help to investors on one side to facilitate their, let's say, move to their country when they decided for investment. They promote their country, they build the image. They, of course, we know that this was before going on in this kind of events, on the fairs, on the, let's say, travel missions. Now, of course, they use this opportunity and did through technology, through webinars, through Zooms. Now, the importance of web page became very important. Actually, to be honest, we made a lot of surveys. We saw that many of the web pages were not sufficient, actually, to be able to manage the promotion of the countries. But now the people put attention a lot onto this and changing all these kind of ideas. So why they are established? To promote, attract, and facilitate, of course, of FDI. And we grouped, let's say, the activities into, let's say, 4 broad categories. Image building, investment generation, investment facilitation, and as well retention or aftercare. And at the end, one of the most important ones, policy advocacy. We did just now with our partner World Bank, we made, let's say, competition for our members about advocacy. So what kind of reforms they did actually together with their governments to make it better investment climate in their countries, and what kind of actions they put in place to be able to, in the future, attract investors, as I was saying before. Did it skip, I guess? How do we go back? Now I want to go where it went now in different direction, I guess. Okay, so now obviously it changed, it goes with a different direction. Yes. This one goes back actually. The next, let's say.
Which page do you want to the next one?
Yeah, the next, yeah. If we can go to the next, I don't know.
Give me a sign.
Okay, and then maybe the next one.
Next one?
Yeah. Okay, so IPA's core functions, as you can see, image building, which is one of the most important tasks now. Before they were asking me in the interview what you believe is the most important now. It's about image building. It's about building the trust. To build the institutions, they say, build back better. First, it looked like a kind of silly word, but to be honest, when we go deep into this, we understand that build back better is a really important thing. We need to go and build back better and resume the situation. As you can see, creative positive image of a country, especially, of course, if we want to attract locations. And activities are, of course, marketing plans that we need to work on, advertising campaigns, diverse public relation activities. Of course, now all of these things are going on through technologies mostly, still. Investment generation, this means that you kind of prepare potential opportunities that the investors might see as an opportunity for investment. And activities are, of course, you need to make a market research, you need to make a data, and we have here, for example, FDI Intelligence, which provides an excellent data. And majority of IPAs are using FDI markets, their tool actually, how to get the data. And of course, then it comes to distilling that data to appropriate actions, let's say. Sector and industry, of course, here we are speaking about tourism-specific seminars and conferences. Then we have investment facilitation and retention and aftercare, especially. So how you provide the investors the we know that 60%, almost 60, 55 to 60% of existing investments create new potential investments in the host country. So it means you need to put a special attention, of course, on the existing investors. Site visits, of course, but these are currently just online. So there are online site visits, let's say online, and people are having this augmented reality. I saw, for example, I just visited recently the Switzerland agency, as we are based in Switzerland, and they have an excellent program, let's say, for this augmented reality. So the investors can really see the locations, can see the roads, can see the infrastructure and everything. Policy advocacy, as I said, one of the most important critical things is where are the challenges, what we are missing, are we having enough transparent legislation, are all the rules put in place that investors, when they come, will be easily using all these things, opening their companies, investing, finding appropriate, let's say, people, different talent opportunities. Are our, let's say, curriculums in the universities in place that serve to, let's say, sectors that we are prioritizing in, let's say, our country? With this, I hope. Okay. So IPAs are important puzzle of most countries' economic development agendas. Okay, this we had. So again, it went back. Can we go further? One more. This is again the previous.
Nice fix. Nice. It works?
Maybe with this one.
Yes?
Okay, obviously back I should go. Okay. So we should adapt. That's the message that I can say. We did a survey at that time when it was the most crucial, actually one of the, let's say, first waves of the COVID. And we can see that what was the most important that IPAs did as a short term was, let's say, providing information via website about the COVID measures for businesses, to what institution they can, let's say, get in touch. So, because it's not only IPAs, there are different stakeholders in the country that deals with investments, as you can imagine, different ministries. But IPS is one of the, let's say, first faces of the country that the investor sees and can approach and can talk. They started to organize webinars, e-meetings, like to find business main concerns and assist them. Some of them were even helping governments to deal with, let's say, protective equipment, like masks. We know that there was an issue, and as they had a good relations abroad, they were able to, let's say, secure deliveries of the safety equipment as well. You can see that, of course, e-guidelines provided, so everything goes somehow through technology to businesses how to act during the pandemic, showing incentives that the governments are providing, not only to, let's say, local companies, but as well to the foreign ones that are, of course, somehow local as they were investors, so the existing ones. So how to safeguard tourism investments during COVID-19? The holistic approach, as Miguel as well said, is needed, and cooperation, let's say, among different stakeholders. It's not only IPAs and governments. As I said, there are other. We would always wish, and we support the idea of one-stop shop or one single window. That, of course, the IPAs facilitate all the services that are, let's say, given to potential foreign investors in their country. Let's say, speaking about working permits, let's say education for the families that the investors are coming. So all these things are important. And of course, pandemic disrupted enormously negatively these things. And we put into the report, you can see later, let's say two main phases of, let's say, recovery. So it's retention of existing investors. So in the short term, IPAs and the other stakeholders need to focus on retention and survival of existing investors, let's say, in the place, in the let's say, area of tourism. And a bit in a medium or long term is rethinking investment strategy. So it means rethink the tourism investment strategy considering the long-term applications of this crisis. And we all know that this crisis is not only the crisis of, let's say, tourism and everything and economy, it's also, let's say, a social crisis. And all these things should be reconsidered when, let's say, placing the new strategies into the paper. Okay, in different direction. Okay, so phase one, as you can see, mostly, of course, investment promotion agencies. I will not go through every single detail. You can read it later. But the idea is aftercare and policy advocacy. And aftercare, of course, means to really put attention on the existing ones that are actually in the country, that are struggling because of the pandemic, that has problems with, let's say, employment issues, that there are many people which are redundant. They have issues of supply chains. They have problems with delivery of, let's say, let's say the materials or any kind of things. Or, of course, the hotels that are established, for example, in the country, they have problems because there are no guests. And how to assist them, how to help them. Are there any, let's say, options of giving them some grants that they overcome these difficulties and they maybe a bit refurbish their, let's say, buildings, or let's say their travel protocols, working together with different institutions, with health authorities and everything to be able to prepare for the future. Then advocacy, as we mentioned, here as well, of course, the most important is to listen to the existing investors, to get their messages, because many times they know the best. They know maybe better than what the government think is the best, actually, because they know what their business needs. And then to put this back into, let's say, planning of the new strategies, planning of the new protocols and everything. And this is what is, I guess, one of the most important tasks that we are trying to get. And the governments, of course, will be providing and are providing fiscal packages to provide temporary income support, of course, to businesses, let's say aviation, hospitality, transportation, food services. We know that many of these businesses, hotels, simply close the doors. Many of the airlines are in huge difficulties because we just saw the photo before that Miguel was showing. There are no flights anymore. And whenever now I'm flying, I'm really excited. I really wish that people start to fly more and more, actually. Otherwise, the things would stop. So this kind of incentives, like let's say helping for the, like some exemptions for the tax issue or social security that the companies do not need to pay, that at least to, what I know, I used to be the director of Slovenian agency, which was responsible for tourism. What was main thing was actually to keep the personnel. We know that in tourism, it's very important, it's labor intensive, but the people who are there are the asset of the actually particular country. Their kindness, their knowledge about the, let's say, different markets that, that tourists are coming. So at least to keep the core, let's say, team of the people of each company to be able to later transfer the existing knowledge to the new ones that will be later employed, let's say. I guess this is one of the important messages as well. And in the bit longer term or medium is, of course, changing a bit the organizational strategy, an attractiveness strategy and promotion strategy. So what are the drivers and trends, let's say, for the tourism sectors? What kind of tourism we would like to attract? Is it more boutique tourism? I presume now massive tourism is not really a question, at least for some certain time. So boutique tourism, maybe more local or regional promotion. So maybe the, for example, the countries around here would come easier. Maybe they would drive with cars, at least temporary. I don't know, some special protocols in the hotels, how the people will be, let's say, staying. I saw, for example, today, they are not, of course, there is no, let's say, self-service breakfast, so they are serving you according to some certain standards. But in any case, it was fine, actually, and it's good, and it shows some kind of revival. And I guess this is all the task of all of us, all institution, investment promotion agencies as well. There was an initiative, for example, of International Chamber of Commerce. They put like a public call for safe travel protocols, because they're also, the business depends on travels, how the people will travel, how they will go around, not just for investment, but also for trade. We all know that first trade happens, and then after trade, the investment happens naturally. Or, as I said, tourism, and then after tourism, it comes the investments. The people see the opportunities. So all these things are important, and rule of law, political stability. We see there are a lot of geopolitical tensions in the world recently. And this all hinders as well the trust of the investors. We all know that we follow the investments. There is enormously a lot of money flowing around. It's just not channeled into, let's say, investment currently, let's say. Because of, as well, distrust. And we see now all this, we know that FDI that was below 1 trillion globally didn't fall just because of pandemic. There are negative trends that impacted the FDI even before the trade wars between, let's say, US and China, repatriation of the tax earnings from US, this kind of law that they stipulated. All these geopolitical tensions, some, let's say, recently we see war again, let's say, in the Middle East. I mean, so all these things, you know, decreases the trust of investors, and they are cautious. So all these things we need to keep in mind when preparing, let's say, the new organizational strategy and all the other things. So I guess I was a bit too long. I hope I was still able to manage to say some couple of messages that we believe are important, and I look forward, if there is any kind of discussion, yeah, just feel free. Yeah. But thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Bosniak. Thank you. Let me introduce you to Natalia Bayona, our charismatic director for innovation, education, and investments at the UNWTO. She will be presenting. She has a fan club.
I don't think so.
Thank you, Natalia.
But hyperactiveness this is the way of hyperactiveness. Before I was here, I've been like in 4 places in the same time. So I hope to lead the change and to talk a little bit on investments today. So it's my pleasure to be here with you, my dearest Rocio, my dearest colleague from WIPA, my dearest team from Telefonica, and of course, it's amazing to be here with you all because, as you know, this is the first time that we are developing a technical event after COVID. Okay, during COVID-19 time. So it's my pleasure to be here today to talk about entrepreneurship and, of course, to talk about investments. So, Miguel, if you don't mind, we can start the presentation. So, of course, this reminds me my former job. 10 years ago, I was appointed to work on foreign direct investment promotion, and I was really, I don't know if young, but at least I was more immature than today I am. So I was only like 26 years old, I think, and I got the amazing venture to open the doors of my home country, Colombia, to promote investments in the Mercosur. So I decided to create the first office, the Trade, Tourism, and Investments Office of my country in Argentina, in Chile, and of course in Uruguay and Paraguay. And I remembered that in that time, Colombia was changing its image, but more than the image, one of the most amazing things is that we were really focused on developing a strong legal framework in order to empower investments. Today, we have a unique opportunity to do the same because, of course, things have been changing during COVID-19 times, and of course, the tourism sector has been hyper affected. Tourism is the top employer of youth, is the top employer of women, but it's in our hands to foster a legal framework that can help us to promote sustainability, to promote innovation, and of course, to drive green investments in order to lead the change. So, my dearest Miguel, do I need to
Maybe backwards, you need to press into local.
I don't know. You know, I am technological, but not that much, you know. So, here we are. So, here we are. Let's talk a little bit about tourism pre-COVID-19 times. Of course, the macro data is more than amazing because, of course, we had 1.5 billion tourists. Second of all, 4% of growth. So, of course, it was an amazing and a very mature sector. And 1 per 10 people work in tourism before the pandemic. And, of course, it was one of the most important sectors when it comes to exports. And, of course, it was the most amazing and the most important sector when it came to services exports. So, of course, what happened then? As you can see, I don't know how many of you work on investment banking or how many of you work in investments, but I cannot say that any single economic sector have been dropped by 80%. Tourism is the only sector that have been dropped during the pandemic in 2 digits. And of course, we were done because for the first time in the history, all the borders were closed. And of course, all of us, when we talk about entrepreneurs, a touristic guide can be an entrepreneur. The person that works with us in order to develop all the logistics of an event is part of the tourism chain. So tourism chain is not only about sun and beach. Tourism is about events, congresses, about developing knowledge, about sharing experiences, and everything was closed for the first time in history. So, of course, when we see this was our panorama, and I have to say that, of course, all the regions of the world were the same. We are, for the first time, we don't have competitors, you know, because to tell the world that every single region has been decreasing their tourism by 60, 70, 80%, it's almost the same. So the responsibility is huge, and that's why we decided to create this hybrid model in order to open doors. So I was, in the morning, giving training to the top 25 entrepreneurs that will pitch tomorrow on the SDGs Global Startup Competition, because of course, part of our responsibility is to empower youth and to help them to develop new technologies and to create those mechanisms to match-make those entrepreneurs, of course, with venture capital. Now we are here in parallel with you, with all the directors of investments of the ministries that unfortunately are not here in presence, but that are listening to us. So this is an amazing approach. Miguel told me that there are more than 70 directors, and as you know, investments is not about numbers. It's about quality, it's about developing a strategic funnel. So I think that we are leading on this week by example, and to help to join efforts in order to recover these and of course to recover confidence that is crucial in order to rebound investments. So here we can see as well, this is the pipeline that we had in the past. So this is really important because if we see venture capital investments and private equity, we can see that all the regions of the world are still concentrated when it comes to tourism investments. So when it comes to Americas, investors are focused on the US and Mexico. If we go to the Gulf, they are focused on the Emirates. When you go to Asia Pacific, look, it's super concentrated on India, China, Australia, and if you come to the big hub of the tourism worldwide, that is Europe, you can see that the UK, of course, that is the house of private equity, they have a lot of the biggest deals. Nonetheless, I cannot say the same in France and in Spain that are top number 1 and 2 destinations worldwide. So this map is really interesting because what I'm trying to tell you here is that the green part is invisible to investors, to private equity investors, to venture capital investors. So if we develop a legal and a strong legal framework, and if we promote actively investments as part of tourism recovery, we can at least color a little bit more countries that need the power of investments, sustainable and green and responsible investments in order to recover again the sector, to bring added value jobs, among others. Here, of course, I already said, minus 74% here. So as tourism decreases, of course, investment decreases. This is a parallelism because, of course, here it's perfect. The sector decreased by minus 73.9%. Foreign direct investment decreased by the same. So this is a very important slide because to me, those has to be friends or colleagues, you know? So if we want inside our ministries to recover tourism, first of all, we will need to recreate the legal framework to promote investments, to add security, to add more communication, to help investors, of course, not only to attract new investors, but also to help them to preserve their investments and to still growing their investments inside the countries, because if not, they will leave to another sector. Private equity is private equity. So if they don't see opportunities in tourism, okay, they will build pharmacy or health or insurance or logistics hub. So I think this is an amazing opportunity to see what can we do. And I think that this is the moment to promote incentives by a strongest legal framework where sustainability, innovation, and of course consciousness are coming here to stay and are coming here to help us to rebound the business model of the tourism sector. So this, once again, the deals, of course, the deals regarding private equity went down. But look at this. The deals regarding venture capital remained stable. So once again, my theory about still promoting innovation is crucial if we want to rebound foreign direct investment in the different countries. So here, this is very important. So here, this is what I was trying to say. If you see the investments in venture capital, they remain stable, and that's a good one, because that's a good message to the markets, that of course venture capital is another opportunity inside the sector. Here, of course, I cannot tell anything else. Who of you hate or love Zoom? I don't want to be a hater or a lover or whatever, but I hate not to have the human touch with you and with you and with you, so I love to be here today, because of course my smile became a little bit shy during the pandemic because of the masks and everything, and I love to smile, so sorry for them, but I think, look at this, video communications, the valuation is the same as all the biggest airlines in the world, because of course, if there was no tourism, they dropped once again. So this is another of the main points. So the whole top airlines of the world today are evaluated as the same as Zoom. So once again, our responsibility is huge. And here, I hate, to be honest, I hate those squares, but I love the squares as well, because this is how our travel tech startups are distributed in the subsectors of tourism. So you can see that all the tech entrepreneurs are developing solutions in 3 subsectors that are transport, of course, you know, Uber or those, Cabify, etc. Commerce and shopping, of course, and community and lifestyle. But I don't know if you are aware that the tourism economic chain is huge. So there is another part of the pie that we need to attract. So we need to promote more entrepreneurs to work on adventure travel, on marketing and digital solutions, on artificial intelligence, on financial services, on healthcare, on data analytics, among others. And here, of course, because of this, tourism, international tourism back to level of 30 years ago. So I'm not going to talk on this data. And of course, the scenarios are the ones that you are seeing here. So, of course, after we dropped, our scenario is still positive, but of course it depends on us. Because in the past, there were some challenges regarding the tourism sector. So remember, over-tourism, waste management, etc. I don't know if we want the same tourism that we had in the past. That, of course, it was an amazing and a very democratic sector. Nonetheless, it was not that sustainable. So this is the perfect moment if we want to share different views, if we want to attract different type of investors, and to promote incentives to those that are developing green investments, that are creating added value jobs, and helping them, and of course, encouraging them to have free trade zones or giving incentives in taxes, but just if they are responsible on the way they are adding value through jobs, or by using renewable energies, or by using those sustainable tools that other sectors are using today. So of course, what are the trends? So this is really important. Last minute trips, that's my case. So second of all, new concerns, health, safety, security. So this is crucial to recover confidence again. Closer, so because we don't know, you know, I would love to go to my country. Nonetheless, I cannot go. What do I have? So the opportunity is to go inside Madrid or inside Spain to rural areas or to cities that maybe were not that famous in the past, but that's good because we are giving opportunities and tourism development to another emerging regions. And Of course, national and nature and adventure tourism is going high, and that's obvious because people under lockdowns don't want to be on the same city where they have been locked for 1 year or more. Digitalization and innovation, of course, younger travelers, more responsible, and of course, here, what do we have to offer? Because this is really important for our member states. And normally speaking, we lose this like funnel of services. So just to end, I just want to wrap up on this. That are the main services that we offer inside the UNWTO regarding investments. First of all, capacity building. Why? That's why we develop partnerships with Financial Times, with WIPA, and with the strongest institutions. Why? Because of course we don't know everything. And we have amazing study cases of foreign direct investment attraction. Nonetheless, not all the countries are on the same page. So whatever you need from us regarding capacity building, we are here to help, and we are here to align efforts with the global perspectives of how we see tourism foreign direct investment movements. Second of all, of course, foreign direct investment promotion. How do we do this? We organize this type of seminars. We organize events, investment seminars, specialized investment seminars. We're going to Saudi, that here Anna's our Director of Innovation of the Kingdom is here, but we are developing a forum specialized on investment attraction in Saudi. We are going to do the same in Cabo Verde, in Africa. We are going to do the same in Mexico and in Panama this year. So use those vehicles to come and to join us, because it's really important to us to connect governments and private sector in order to align efforts and to build business opportunities for everybody. Of course, we have the investment network, because part of this is how we react and how we connect investors with the public sector. So every single person that is working on the private sector or on the public sector need the power of networking in order to open new borders, open new opportunities. So that's our job inside the UNWTO, to open doors between investors, institutions, and of course, ministries in order to make investments happen in a good way. And of course, this is a very nice thing. So I don't know if you were aware, but in the past, 3 years ago, I have to say that when we decided with Secretary General to create a global publication focused on investments, surprise, tourism didn't have data on tourism investment. Today, thanks to my dearest Miguel, this is a dream come true, and with our first venture was with the Financial Times, the second venture is with WIPA, but the thing is that today, after a lot of time and a lot of effort, we have to say that we have a framework to help investors to see the different panorama of how the tourism sector is growing. And on the other side, we can help member states to be aligned on the different frameworks that we need from them in order to increase foreign direct investments. So you can find this, of course, online, or Miguel can give it to you without any problem. And of course, I think our dearest Financial Times king that is here today, he already talked to you a little bit, or he will talk a little bit on the partnership, but of course, our aim, once again, is to open doors. One of the main challenges that this sector has is to organize data, and Financial Times has helped us to create an amazing platform for the use of every single technician working on investments inside the ministries of tourism of every single country, and you can see how competitive your country is, how you can create a better understanding and a better marketing strategy to market your country, and of course, to focus a little bit more on deliver a more tiny pipeline, but with the strongest and more efficient results. So here, of course, I love this. I told you that I am a lover and a hater, but because hybrid education or hybrid conferences are here to stay, of course, most of you that know me always tell me, where are you? Because I see you in 5 Zooms per day. So are you in Taiwan? Are you in Switzerland? Where are you? And I always answer the same, I'm everywhere. So why? Because we need the power of technology to deliver the different messages that we need to deliver. So of course, we will continue our Zoom tours working with the member states in order to attract more investors and to engage more institutions working on foreign direct investments. And this, as I said, this is the second framework document that we did, thanks to WIPA, on strategies to safeguard tourism investments during COVID-19 times. So this is amazing. You know, it's not because my team developed this, it's because I think it's an added value information for all the people that are working on investments. So take advantage of that information. Use that information, because that information is not from the UNWTO. It's from you, for every single member state that wants to work on investments. And of course, this is like the pieces that we have today. The first one was the framework of tourism investments. The second one, that is going to be presented by myself tomorrow, again, focused on tourism tech ecosystem. And the other one, that is the last one, that is going, that of course, we briefly presented some guidelines to you today. So, just to end, what is this? This is like my obsession, you know? When I'm talking about tourism, my obsession is about youth. When I'm talking about innovation, my obsession is about women empowerment, because more than 28% of women working in tourism lead a startup. So to me, that's my obsession. So if you ask me on education, what's my obsession? Online education, because it's the way to scale up the way people are educated. But if you ask me, what's my obsession on investments? This is my obsession. Always, I see that here we have a strong opportunity. Why? I don't know if you know, but we talk about sustainability every single time in the world. We have the Paris Agreement, we have a lot of things. Do you know how many countries have a public policy focused on tourism sustainability? 10. So how you want to attract foreign direct investments focused on green technologies or on green hotels if you don't have the framework? Second of all, what are the incentives to do this and to do a green hotel rather than a normal hotel? There are no investments. So there are not incentives, sorry. So if you don't create a legal framework inside your countries to help green private equity to come to the countries, we are not doing anything. So those green investments would go to other subsectors of the economy. And that's why it's my obsession. I cannot believe that from 200 countries that the world has, only 10 that are New Zealand, Australia, my hometown Colombia, Canada, and Switzerland, and 5 more, and that's all. And the rest, so why you're talking about sustainability and about the sustainable development goals if you don't have a legal framework to attract investors? Based on green technologies, based on renewable energies, based on how to create inclusion inside rural communities. So that's a strong challenge and a strong opportunity if we want to rebound tourism, to develop a legal framework to attract investors focused on green and on sustainability. So I remember when I came 10 years ago and we created the Colombian tourism law to attract hotels. And of course, we doubled the number of hotels coming because there were incentives. So of course, they had tax incentives, free trade zone incentives, a lot of incentives. We have to do the same. And I'm talking about that case not because I'm Colombian, because it was a successful case inside the tourism sector. But if we want to do those kind of movements of doubling the investments, we need incentives for the private sector. But today, unfortunately, only 10 countries in the world have official incentives to attract green investors. So we need to work more. So I don't know if you understand why that's my new obsession inside investments. So that's why we decided to create a green program with the IFC. As you know, IFC is a private branch of the World Bank, and we are working on, first of all, capacity building. So we have done a lot of seminars. Second of all, the IFC has the green stamp for hotels that is called EDGE. So once you get the EDGE certification as a hotel, they open the doors for loans or investments. So they are helping those that are doing things on a sustainable way to gain loans or to gain investments. And of course, they want to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 by helping with loans and with investments on those hotels in order to hire more working capital focused on sustainability. So this is an amazing project. For the ones that are working in government, this is crucial. So it's very important to talk to Miguel. Unfortunately, I have to leave. I told you I'm everywhere and nowhere because after this I have to see the SG and the Minister of Tourism of Dominican Republic. So, but Miguel, that is here leading the show today, he will help you on everything that you need regarding this project, because to us it's one of the key projects to make a real change on the way we are developing foreign direct investments. And last but not least, not to bother you, this is Tourism for Tomorrow program. That is a new program that we are building with the big tech companies in order to help entrepreneurs, because it's not only about capacity building, it's as well to help how to connect those seed entrepreneurs and those seed startups to grow and to be mature when they are talking to investors. So we are trying to develop a new program inside the Tourism Online Academy focused on what are the fundamentals that entrepreneurs need to know in order to attract an investor. Because of course, they are huge gaps. It's not only about having a good project, but also about having a good team. We are here in the House of Startups, so Telefonica can talk a lot of what are the gaps between an entrepreneur and an investor when they are trying to connect and to promote deals. So we are trying to launch this program during the General Assembly in Morocco, because all the countries are asking us for those type of materials, to have an entrepreneurial and investment toolkit, like a place where entrepreneurs can download the things that they need in order to present a good pitch to an investor. Of course, focus on the SDGs, and that's all for the day. It's my pleasure once again to have you on board. I would like to see all of you tomorrow, May 18th, to lead by example and to keep growing the tourism innovation ecosystem. My dearest Rocio, I love how you did everything to attract investors in Madrid and what you are doing inside SEIM in order to preserve investors. As I already said, it's not only about attracting a lot of people and to come here, and that's very nice, but then the tough work is how do I preserve them, how I take care as a government or as an institution, how do I take care of them in order to empower growth, to add value jobs, and of course to build. In this case, Madrid, of course, is one of the biggest hotspots on investments, hotspots of tourism, and of course, it's an amazing example. So of course, I would like to give the floor, and last but not least, whatever you need from us, we are here to help and to work with you, because of course, we need to rebound tourism together. It's not only UN WTO responsibility, it's not only government responsibility, it's private sector responsibility as well, but we need to be stronger than ever in order to lead the same message, to be sustainable, to be innovative, and of course, to be inclusive. Thank you. ¿Qué pasa, Miguel?
Thank you so much, Natalia. We have a 10 minutes break right now, so please feel free to grab some water or coffee, and then we'll start with the second part in 10, okay? Thank you. Gabriela? Okay. So as you can tell, the first part was based on the foundations and the drivers and the impact of COVID, and we tried to put and lay the foundations for the new strategies. And now we are going to move to the second part that is more practical, and also we have a very specific tools at the end of this presentation, and also new strategies from corporate venturing in order to make it more dynamic during this time. So without further ado, let me introduce to our guest speakers. In this case, there are two guests, Rocío Güemes and Luis Suarez de Leso, that they are going to present the case for Spain. So as you know, Spain has been in the top of the international tourist arrivals over the last decade, and they have a lot of experience not only attracting investors, but also keeping them in the country as well. So they are going to present very specific key success cases and strategies to attract and promote investment during this time. And then the second part, after this case study, we are going to see Juan Barrios from the Financial Times. And with the Financial Times, we are developing different partnerships, different publications, and one of the most exciting opportunities with them is that we are using their platforms to promote investments. So it's very, very practical. So Juan will be presenting one of the tools that is called Zoom Tour that has been designed to develop specific opportunities, especially in times of COVID. And lastly, but not as important of this, but it's very, very incredible for us, is to have Waira in this time, because they will be presenting something related with corporate venturing and how can we actually utilize the power of the private sector to invest in the public sector, and we can foster innovation through these investment vehicles and open innovation opportunities. So without further ado, Rocío, please.
Thank you, Miguel Angel. Well, hello, everyone. I'm just delighted with all the actions taken by... Whoop! I have the right to get rid of this. Hello again, everybody. I was saying that I was delighted with all the actions taken by the World Tourism Organization to dynamize tourism and to let us regain the pleasures of traveling around again and visiting wonderful places beyond our own borders. So I want to congratulate, first of all, Natalia Bayona's team for the great job that they are doing in promoting innovative solutions to help the tourism sector, and also for organizing this semi-face-to-face event that I'm very glad to take part in. And I'm also very glad that today's event is taking place in Waira, because I agree with our friend Borjans. We are now, we must unlearn what we think we know and redraw all the schemes with new allies. And I think this space is inviting us all to do so. So let's talk about the job, or should I say the craft, of attracting foreign investment. It all started with the realization by worldwide governments of how good foreign investments were for their territories. So the phenomenon, we could say, emerged around multinationals. In the developed countries, multinationals have a positive impact, not only to the overall progress of their states, but also to the social well-being of their citizens. And in the developing countries, multinationals accelerate a great deal all this process. So whenever we have, and of course startups, we're talking about the startups in this place today, are the multinationals of the futures, and also they are the new wisdom of their innovative process. So in a way, they guarantee their survival. And wherever there is a good concentration of multinational and startups in a certain geographical spot, they create a clear appeal to more multinationals and more startups, and also they call for private equity firms and venture capital firms. So all the governments around the world want multinationals, startups, venture capitals, and private equity firms in their territories. So what we see is progressively all these governments are dedicating increasing amount of resources to attract greenfield projects and to carry on the very important task of aftercare. So what we are facing here is a huge competition. It was funny, we made some funny calculations in our last YR gathering in Warsaw, as I was telling you before, Borja. We end up with the conclusion that there are at least 4,200 investment promotion agencies in the world competing among each other with the identical or very similar discourse for a decreasing number of projects in a time when the decision-making process is becoming longer and longer because of the uncertainty that we are going through. So in this vast competition context, I think it is very important to bear in mind 5 essential key success factors. So let's start with the first one, strategy. I think this is the key factor per excellence. We need the strategy be clear and stable over time, regardless political cycles. We need our FDI strategy to be a structural part of the policy, of economic policy of our government, not a conjunctural or changing element every other political cycle. And before we define our strategy, it is important that we clarify certain issues. For example, what impact are we seeking by attracting foreign investment? Are we looking for job generation? Do we want to diversify our economy? Do we look for increasing the average size of our local business to make them more competitive? Do we want to attract talent? Or do we maybe want to attract a certain type of industry? Once we know that, then we can decide over the type of projects that we want to look for. Greenfield, aftercare, venture capital, as we said afterwards. During COVID-19 theme, that is the Madrid Region Business Association that I work for, together with Madrid Council City, have focused in launching a very dynamic aftercare service. And I think it has been a good idea because all multinationals we are knocking, whose door we are knocking, are very happy to have us, wondering how they are doing and what they need from us. Other issues that we have to clarify before we define our strategy are, do we know which league we are playing in? We cannot compete with all other seats in the world. We need to have clear which our competitive advantages are and our position with regard to our competitors in each attribute. And once you know that, we have to ask ourselves, do we have any margin for improvement? Normally there is. And if so, what resources can we count on to take every single competitive advantage to its maximum level? And it is very important as well to measure the results of every action so that we can manage our budget in the most efficient way. So once we have the answer to all those questions, we can go to the following key success factor, which is no other than resources. Happy the agency that feels wealthy in budgetary, human, and technological resources. I haven't met one yet. There are many types of resources. They should be sufficient and again constant over the time, regardless political cycles. And I'm focusing on 3 types of resources. Let's start with the agency itself. We have seen many types of agencies, 100% state-run agency, private ones supported by Chamber of Commerce, and also working in alliance with local and very active and dynamic business association. That is the case of Alcoendas, very well represented here by Luis Suarez de Lezo, and Madrid. Every formula is valid as long as we're talking about long-term and valiant bets. Another key resource, I would say, is talent, of course. And again, there are some agencies that are pursuing 2 goals at the same time and trying to increase the volume of both exports and FDI at the same time. It is okay with me. I don't have nothing against that. Spain does that through ATHEX Invest in Spain. I used to do so in Promo Madrid. But we need to know that we are talking here about 2 totally different businesses. Trade and FDI need totally different professional profiles. So in this business of attracting foreign investment, we need a deep knowledge of strategic sectors. It is very important in our strategy, I forgot to mention that, to bet on certain sectors. He who grabs all loses all. El que mucho abarca, poco aprieta, we say in Spain, in Spanish. So we need to have people very expert on those sectors, and also a deep knowledge, of course, of the legal framework and the administration we are dealing with. And also we need people that is curious and passionate and patient, because this job is a little bit tough sometimes, and it takes long from the moment you have a lead until you see gain a project and you see it materialized. It takes many years. So you need to be patient, and you need to be devoted to details. So quality is very important, but quantity is important as well. So I would say the more soldiers you have in your army, the more battles you are going to be able to fight. And therefore, the more leads you're going to gain, and the more projects you are going to be materialized in your region or in your city. So that is all for human resources and technology. Natalia has talked about technology already. I think nowadays, there are thousands of tools that multiply your capacity to foresee tendencies and to detect global opportunities and threats. So those tools give us time to think and allow us to go ahead others. There are also some tools that allow us to do our daily tasks in a more methodic and more efficient way. Those are important as well. There are even platforms that are sending commercial promoting marketing messages in an automatic way. So if we can, we should go for all of them, all type of technology that is helping us to spend our time thinking and not doing things. And especially if we want to attract high added value sectors, we need to catch up with our future potential customers, and they are using all kinds of technology or even developing them. Besides resources, I would like to talk to you about another key success factor, which would be in this case promotion. We have already gone through that, so I will be very brief. It is very important within our own borders. We have to work hard. Excuse me, could I have a little bit of water? Thank you, Liz. Ooh. Thank you. Thank you, Liz. Promotion. Within our borders, we need to improve our business climate. Borjan went already through that, and I want to go over it again because we are, our value proposal must be based on companies' opinions. So we, investment attraction agencies, have a very important duty facilitating investors, but also we must see ourselves as advocates for continuous improvement of the investment environment. It is a key question, I agree with you. And outside, abroad, we have to spread the attractiveness, the attributes of our seed all around the world. And we have to do it in a constant and homogeneous way and accompanied by the political or government authorities and also the business leaders. I think that is very important. We have to be able to make an alliance, a strong alliance to work on that together. Another key success factor, I would say, is the government support throughout all the process, promotion, implementation, and also aftercare. And it is also very important to count on certain civil society recognition. It is important that we spread, as I said, our attributes all around the world. But it is also important that we let know our neighbors how much of a big commitment we have with our job and the good things that happen when we succeed in our job and we have projects to be implemented in our region or in our city, because our neighbor's life is going to be much better, and we are working hard for that. And it is important that we have and that we look for certain civil society recognition, because if we don't get that, it'll be harder to have the government support, and therefore it will be very hard to have enough resources. And if we have social recognition, it'll be much easier, it'll become natural that the policymakers count on us and include our FDI strategy in their economic policy. So I think we went very rapidly over this, what I consider the 5 key success factors. And the best part of this panel is yet to come, but I don't want to leave the floor before announcing one success case, which is Madrid business-friendly administration. I think I am very proud of it, and I'm going to go very quickly over 2 samples. Madrid has been attracting talent from all across Europe throughout the pandemic, because we remained open while everybody else was locked down. And the regional government of Madrid searched for health protection formulas whilst keeping businesses open. And because of that, we have kept the attention of international press. I think that is something to think about. And also Madrid has the first fintech sandbox in European Union. This sandbox allow the techie companies or startups to develop financial solutions and proposals and test them together with regulators and supervisors, so that the financial new services, the legal framework, license, permits, and so on, are progressing at the same time, at the same path, and guaranteeing at the same time the final user's safety. So I think this is a huge thing to consider, and it is possible because we have a very business-friendly administration. So thank you very much for your time and attention, and I leave the floor to outstanding Luis Suarez de Lezo.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank World Tourism's organization, WAIRA, WIPA, and FDI for inviting us to share our experiences in Alcobendas. Also, Rocío Güemes, our leader in investment attraction. Rocío, thank you very much. I would like to begin illustrating what is happening right now in Alcobendas. What is Alcobendas? Because it's not well known, and it's one of the biggest cities in Spain. Okay. We have in Alcobendas we have more than 10,000 economic activities, but we are known because of 500 multinationals that are set up in our city. In terms of turnover, Alcobendas holds the third position in Spain. First in Madrid, second is Barcelona. Alcobendas is the third, with more than 77 billion euros. We are very important in that way. And if we talk about multinational companies, Alcobendas is the second. First Madrid, second Alcobendas, third Barcelona. And we are the first in lowest local fiscal pressure, an issue that is very important for our companies. We have a very special location. We are 10 minutes in the north of Madrid, 10 minutes from the financial center, 12 minutes to the international airport, 14 minutes to FEMA, and we have a very good location because we also have the most important international schools. And this location and the schools, university, we have a lot of important things to choose our city to set up. We also have 4 metro stations, 2 train stations, 41 bus lines, and 3 main roads. This is very important because this is one of our problems. It seems to be a lot of possibilities in public transport and transportation in general, but it's one of our problems, and we'll talk about later about it. The infrastructure, IT infrastructure, is very important for us. We are working a lot to be one of the most modern connected cities in Spain. We have 4G mobile coverage, total 4G mobile coverage. We have 200 gigabytes per second fiber network. And right now we have 3 data centers, but we have a lot of pressure of international companies to set up the data centers there. And perhaps in the next 2 years, we will have a lot more. And with all this information, a very quick resume, we decided to create the Alcobendas Hub. It's a promotion city office in 2017 with the city council. It's founded by the city council and the business association together. We work together, and our business association support of the knowledge about what the company needs and also the network all around them. I think it's a good point that we offer to all the companies legal, financial, labor advice. We search for the location for the companies. We help with administrative procedures. We do the network with all the rest of the companies, and we put in contact. And also we give them the possibility to stay in a free soft landing space before they get at the end. Also, we look for a school, we look for a house, we solve all the problems they have because we know very well what all the economic and all the situation of the city, and we manage to give all the services for them. We have in 2 years, the last 2 years, we have 1,000 enterprises established in the last 2 years, and we have directly attended around 600 of them. We have to know that it's very, in Alcobendas there are a lot of companies that they are low patrimoniales, right? You say we have, but their own patrimonial companies. A lot of people, they live in the neighborhoods. Yeah, that's it. And well, it is not it's not important in terms of employment of inclusive the association, but we have done a good job in these 2 years, and well, we have participated in different meetings with a lot of companies, and we have some international projection. We used to go to 6 events per year, and we have been working in two good how to say the best practices. I think we are doing 2 things that are a little bit different for other investment office. We have an ambassador program that we use the president and CEOs of our big companies to be our ambassadors all around the world. That means that they, in their meetings and when they go out and in the relations with other companies, they talk about Alcobendas and what we are doing there. They know very well what is happening. We do our best to know what is happening in the city, and they go outside talking about that. Now we have 9 Indra, Kia, Conecta. They are big companies, and we use them, and we have a very big, large network using them. The other way is we have created a digital innovation hub. It is a cooperation ecosystem formed by multiple partners. We have 10 members and 40 contributors, and we are focusing innovation opportunities to support all the digital transformation, and not only for enterprises, also to the public administrations. But all these things that we have, very good things that we have also problems, and that is and problems that we have to solve in order to keep our companies and to prevent our investors there, no? And our great problem is mobility. We have 117 Welsh employees. 70,000 of workers come from outside Alcobendas, and 70% access with their own vehicle. We have a constant traffic jam all around there that we have to solve, and we have been working very, very hard to solve it because it's our big problem, and probably we can, there are several companies that are thinking on going away from Alcobendas for that problem. And we have created, we began to work in 2004 with an intercompany special bus service. It's like a shuttle that transports workers from the train and from the metro to the economic areas. We have 3 lines inside Alcobendas of the different places to the different areas. And in the last 2 years, we have digitalized the service and make some improvements. Now we have a multimodal, we have a multimodal platform, multimodal mobility platform. When we can have new routes to Madrid directly, we can transport employees directly to Madrid, and also this platform is open to other means of transport. We have car sharing, carpooling, scooter, bicycle, motorbike. We have different kinds of transport. That's the way we will try to maintain our companies in Alcobendas. We try not to lose them, because it's a very important problem for them. Well, at the end, I think to sum up, we have Alcobendas represents the cooperation between public and private entities that has facilitated the economic growth of the city. And I think it's a very good opportunity to other offices to work together without the business association. And well, to say something about the ambassadors program, I think it's very important, or to look to solve the specific problems that we have every place, every economic areas, like this one. That's all. Thank you very much, and I'm here for you if you need something. I will listen.
Okay, we move forward now. Let me introduce to Juan and Carlos Barrios from the Financial Times. And this will be a very practical presentation, since he will be introducing different tools that we have been using for the last year, and especially he will be introducing the Zoom platform as well. So Juan, thank you so much for coming.
Okay, good afternoon, good morning for the audience online. My name is Juan Barrios. I'm the FDI representative for Latin America and also Spain, part of the Financial Times. And today I will be very practical. I'm just waiting for my presentation here, the platforms actually that I want to show you. And so as we've been talking this morning, being digital, reframing your strategy is crucial to come out from this crisis, because at the very end, it is a crisis. Now we're trying to be very optimistic, but I'm here to share with you the actual ways, you have to, empower yourself and, make that recovery really fast. So let's start, okay? If you give me at least 5 minutes of your attention, I will show you or walk you through 3 different platforms of intelligence, okay? The first one is FDI Markets, which is gonna enables you to revise your strategy through actual data, through data based on actual FDI flows, okay, around the world, and more importantly, through investor signals, meaning that there's an investor in Asia trying to do some business in the Americas, for instance, so you will be able to see it on FDI Markets. We talk, at the very first session this morning about probably, rethinking about your value proposition. FDI Benchmark will help you, benchmark with other countries, with other IPAs, with other realities, what you can offer after COVID with, from your country, what are the strengths of your country in specific sectors, and obviously the tourism sector. And to continue, I'm gonna talk about Zoom Tour, okay, which is sort of the hottest way we're trying to make investors explore your regions. And, but now I'm gonna stop like the theoretical part, and let's start with the practical one. So this is FDI Markets, the live platform, which is gonna tell you which investors are saying, I have 20 million pounds to invest outside the UK, so I'm ready to invest within Latin America. Which country? You are there on the race. So, and to show you this, I'm gonna show you the investor signal session, okay? And on this session specifically, we're gonna give you details about these companies, okay? Sometimes, you know, this first company from the United States, okay, or this company from Singapore. And each one of this section, we're gonna tell you through this platform, okay, how much they have as a capital to invest, which sector. Obviously we can narrow it down, you know, from aerospace to tourism or hotel sectors, etc. And apart from this sort of function within FDI markets, it is crucial to know, obviously, the investment flows within, if we talk about tourism, okay? I have so many studies here, but we can see live data on, you know, which, you know, companies or which countries are attracting even more tourism nowadays. And obviously, you know, what has been happening before the pandemic. So you will be here. This is not a surprise that obviously the 2020, as early this morning, you know, Miguel showed, was like a massive drop within the numbers. And again, all of these changes, and forget about the big numbers. If we go to specifics, like the name of companies which are trying to revive, you know, the activity, we can find those names and details of those companies from this platform. To sum up, FDI markets, okay, is your day-to-day friend if you work for the investment attraction, in order to visualize all of the information on, you know, who to target, which companies you can you know, approach to, etc. At the same time, you can specifically narrow down the list of companies within the hotel sector, for instance. But you also need to shape your value proposition. How you do that? You do that sort of analysis on FDI benchmark, which is gonna let you know how competitive you are now on the 2021 year, okay? How competitive you are, and this is an example, you know, of within the hotel sector in some Latin American countries, where you see that within the hotel sector, again, Mexico is the strongest one. So the aim here is not to see if I'm in the last place or the first place. The aim here, through this sort of analysis, is to identify the economic areas where I can improve to public policies, through advice to ministers, etc. Let's talk about our friends from Brazil, for instance, or within this specific sector in Brazil. What to make Brazil, or what specifically makes Brazil so competitive, you know, compared to the other countries? You will see a list of variables where they are really strong, but also, okay, and here personally I go for, you know, what are the variables where they're not that very strong in comparison with other countries. So to sum up, FDI benchmark will allow me to identify, you know, my value proposition, prepare it in real time for investors, and see which areas I have to advise my government they need to target in order to improve and become more competitive. Finally, okay, because I want to make it very short and sweet, and I'm gonna talk about Zoom Tour. Please do not relate it to Zoom as the company. This is an application we actually provide to different locations in order to create a virtual tour. So let's say Dominican Republic, they want to create a virtual tour of Santo Domingo or Madrid, etc. So what we can do here is, through this application, we're gonna walk that potential investor, okay, through the main highlights of a region, okay, on an interactive map. Obviously, the tour will be based on numbers, those are the names of stops, okay, the number of stops that we can highlight. And then what can I show within, you know, this sort of digital applications? I can show available properties, available piece of land ready for the investor to move. But remember that the investors are not, like most of them are not traveling yet, so they will have the experience of, you know, explore that sort of site, and then made a decision based on data, and that is crucial, you know. It will never be the same, okay? But we believe that this is going to give the right taste of, what is going to be value in that, because at the very end is a competition, and everybody knows this. So when there's an investor evaluating Santo Domingo, as I started with my example, that investor will be evaluating other Latin American cities, for instance, or European cities, etc. So within this sort of application, you will have different sort of media, videos, photos, etc. But I'm showing you only highlights, okay? This is a quick example that I personally created, okay? I'm not part of the FDI investment attraction team of Barcelona. But, in this case, for tourism, I will be able to show the main highlights of Barcelona in this case, or other regions of Spain, but through data, as I mentioned before. So you can add your own websites, pictures, live locations, etc. And remember, we are walking, this investor on the main highlights of the city. So what does this mean? That I'm going to show you or portray what I think it will be, of a high impact for this investor, okay? And then, again, it's never be the same. I will prefer to go on site and explore all of Barcelona there, but at least this is going to give me a sense, okay, for my site selection. And all of this, okay, is going to be displayed everywhere, obviously matching with your social media and promoting your actual website, etc. Anyways, all of this is an application, okay? What you're seeing here is all content, owned by your local organization trying to attract investment. So every organization will select every stop, every sort of aspect they want to portray, etc. And then we can switch back, from or make a pause on the tourism aspect. But when there's a client of yours, when there's an investor trying to see how developed is your infrastructure, this sort of Zoom tour will allow you to tell your story through this application. And again, all of this could be done by you. I created the two Zoom tours that I just showed you. And this is like a matter of having the pictures, and we provide all the digital platform with the mapping aspect. And it's like I log into a specific website. It's like, to make it simple for you, it's like an Instagram for site selectors. As simple as that, where you upload what you want, you tell the story through a map, etc. So I didn't want to bother you with a long presentation, okay? And but to sum up, you have a digital channel to show what you offer as a country, as a city, and even as a small community, okay, based on data. And then this is the now and this is the future, because at the very end, things will never get back to what we were used to, okay? Hopefully to some degree, yes. But digitalization is now a must rather than, an advice. And thank you so much for your attention, and I appreciate your, participation today. And I hope I was not too boring, but yeah, thank you so much.
One second, Juan. I have some questions since get the other speakers getting ready. Can you kind of like give us like the example, for instance, when Rocio was presenting the benchmark, like how important are the tools that you are using in FDI? Because there's one part of the benchmark, but also the other part of promotion of the Zoom tour. Can you make this differentiation?
Sure,
please?
sure. So actually, if I can go back to the presentation, thank you. So no problem. There's a difference between, the platform, the data platform that we show early, in the presentation. For instance, the benchmark part. So this benchmark application is like for you, for a specific IPA to log in and to have access to all that pile of, current data. For instance, I can see very recent information about every country in the world. But this is more like a massive economic library with some smart features, which is going to let you know if you're more competitive than other country or which specific economic areas you would like to improve. So this is all given by us. This is data for you, for your decision-making process to become sexier as a location for investors. On the other hand, we do have the Zoom tour, okay? And this is an application which you're gonna feed. That's what I said, like I made the analogy with Instagram, because we're not providing the content. You provide, the locations you want to portray, showcase, and the pictures and the videos. So this is more customizable for you. And then this is only sort of, let's say, a window through which you're gonna show the content, the relevant content for you. So they have two natures. The first one with the intelligence databases is for decision making, investor identification, etc. The other is for a powerful digital marketing, which is Zoom tours. I hope that clarified that. Miguel?
Just waiting for.
No problem, no problem. Any other question from you are welcome.
So finally, to wrap up, our last speaker, but not less important, Agustin Moro. He is part of this house of WIDA. He will be introducing us some of the concepts of corporate venturing and how can we partner with the public sector and different companies that have like an innovation hub, and how can we use the concepts of open innovation to promote investments during the pandemic, using this case for tourism sector as well. Agustin, thank you.
Thank you, Miguel Angel. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure hosting you here in Telefónica's premises in Gran Vía, which is the corporate seat of Telefónica. It's a building that was built in 1924 when Telefónica was founded, meaning that we are almost 97 years old. At the time, it was the highest skyscraper in Europe. And for me, it's a pleasure having you here because Telefónica's history is a story of reinventing itself. We have done fixed line communication. We had to internationalize and grow in order to survive. We had to switch and convert into a mobile phone company, a data company, and now I think it's the perfect timing for innovation to happen. We are nowadays seeing how next generation networks and next generation connectivities bring so many opportunities in terms of new businesses and new solutions that we can take to the market, but at the same time having such a disruptive environment, it also entails uncertainties for a lot of the sectors. And it's the same what has happened in the tourism sector throughout the COVID crisis. So I'm not sure if my presentation's, yeah, perfect. So what I want to share basically is all the learnings that Telefónica has achieved in the past 15 years since we started working with startups. Here are some figures around Telefónica. As you know, we are a multinational company with high presence in Latin America and in Europe. More than 40K billion revenues and more than 345 million clients. Just this is a couple of figures that can help us to dimension what's the size of the business and also the challenge that driving innovation into such a huge company is. I wanted to share, what we've done in open innovation, and probably we all know what open innovation is about, but I really like this definition by Harry Chesborough, who's the guy in Berkeley who invented the term of open innovation, saying that open innovation is what allows, so it's basically combining the best of your internal ideas, your internal capacities, and your internal assets with what's coming from outside. As said before, so in such disruptive environment in terms of networks and communication, it's not enough to have your internal R&D units and your internal engineers innovating around your strategic assets. You have to learn from others and leverage innovators and third parties that can also help you to survive and to keep on leading your business. Since open innovation was invented, I think there have arisen so many different mechanisms for engaging with innovators and with startups. I just want to show in this slide a couple of them. But we all know, and we have seen so many corporates doing like corporate accelerators or corporate venture capitals, launching their venture builder projects or doing hackathons or challenges in order to identify best talent and engage with them. All those are the mechanisms of corporate venturing, which is within the open innovation framework that I was describing before. So we have seen how the corporate venture capital, and with corporate venturing, I mean corporates doing open innovation and working with the startups, we see a tendency that keeps growing since many years. Just in the past 5 months, we can see how the weight of the corporate venture capital it's more relevant within each of the deals that happen every year. And also we see how as an absolute figure, how it keeps on growing. So as of 2020, almost $73 billion were invested in startups by corporates. This means that doing open innovation is not an option. It's a must. If you really want to survive, if you want to remain competitive, you have to learn from others. I was discussing before how the limits and the barriers between each of the industries, each day is lower and it's more undefined. So through open innovation, you can find technology, you can find innovation that can improve your business, but you can also learn from others, because it's about collaboration. It's about doing things with other parties. And in that regard, in all this path that we have walked in Telefónica, it's not just about financial return, it's not just about having new technologies being used by Telefónica, it's also a matter of learning and a matter of giving a competitive advantage to your company and to your industry in order to survive and to face the next 100 years. When I was preparing this talk, I had a look on the corporate venture capital in the tourism industry. And it wasn't very positive, the figures that I've seen. It's almost a desert, or at least in Telefónica's footprint. But this also means that there are a lot of opportunities in order to transform the tourism industry. So I think it's good that. So it's a fact. Tourism sector hasn't done so much corporate venturing, but there's an opportunity to doing things with other parties. And I think there's a fact that really reinforces this message, because if you see what has happened throughout the COVID crisis, you see that this is the figures and the investment in venture capital is not cyclical. It's not subject to investment reductions or to COVID crisis. It's just a way for the sector to achieve milestones. So it's strategic. This is not opportunistic. So when things are bad, it's when we need this most, but this is something that we have to do every day. I want to share very quickly what we have done in Telefonica. And basically, yeah, we have launched a different set of initiatives and of programs that allow Telefonica to invest and to support talent. We have Open Future, which is quite well known here in Spain and also in Latin America, since we have many programs, both with public sector and with private agents in each of the countries in which we operate. We have WIDA, which is our micro venture capital fund that allows us to invest into early stage companies, and we have Telefonica Ventures, which is the tool through which we support more mature companies. Each of them, or all together, they make like a funnel through which we can identify the best companies, and we can give them business development opportunities, we can invest them, and we can support their growth and their internationalization by leveraging Telefonica's operations and sales channels. So basically our vision is becoming the most global, connected, and tech-driven open innovation hub in the world. We want to connect Telefonica with disruptors, as said at the beginning, and we want to become their preferred partner so we can both grow together. We want to bring them business development opportunities, and we want to use their technologies in order to accelerate our business. So it's a matter of enhancing win-win situations. So basically, with WIDA, what we have built is an open innovation ecosystem with almost global presence through our own assets and our own infrastructure. The same as this hub in which you spent the morning today, we have similar hubs in the rest of Europe and in Latin America. And in those countries in which we do not have this type of spaces, we leverage third parties, and we leverage our partners' networks, so we can also have scouting capacities in footprints that might be innovation hubs, in which technology that might be relevant to the telco industry might be arising, like, for example, Silicon Valley, Israel, China, or any other country. At the same time, we also partner with venture capital funds that can also help our companies to grow, and they can keep them, and they can keep funding them as long as they keep on growing. And we also work with governments, because we really believe that a multi-collaborative scheme in which also public bodies support open innovation, it's a need if we want this to succeed. So basically, we do a simultaneous game of 5 different actions, and we have deployed different initiatives. As the different entrepreneurial ecosystems kept on growing, we decided to launch new initiatives, because entrepreneurs are super demanding clients. So if you want to have a solid value proposition and engage with the best talent, you have to have the most sophisticated tools. So at the beginning, we launched WIDA Hubs. Afterwards, we launched, like in our 10th anniversary, so this year, we launched WIDA X, which allows us to support not only B2B companies, which is mostly what WIDA did in the past, but WIDA X is addressing also purely native companies focused on consumer segment. We have WIDA Next Trend that help us to prototype technologies so that we can plug them in, and the solutions coming from the startups with Telefonica's operations, and WIDA activation programs, which basically mean opening Telefonica's capacities to entrepreneurs so they can build upon them. So it's basically, yeah, opening our technologies and giving them connectivity, giving them bulk SMS, so they can leverage all these core business assets of Telefonica in order to grow their business. And finally, we have also launched WIDA Builder, which is the company venture builder, by using idle technology and idle IP that we might be finding within Telefonica, and that's not being used by business units. So what we do basically is finding that technology and building up a company on the side that might be growing afterwards through Telefonica, or we might be taking it through other business channels and other commercial channels different to Telefonica. This is the global network that I was mentioning before, and we do a simultaneous play of 5 different things. It's micro-investing in these companies, generating business for them, leveraging our client network, B2B network, and also our alliances and partnerships so they can also grow through our partners' network. We launch verticalized programs, which is the next concept that I want to explain and share with you, and which I will be closing my presentation. And finally, we do also innovation scouting, which is basically looking into all the open innovation ecosystems in which we might be finding relevant technologies and relevant ideas so that we make sure that we do not miss any opportunity. In the past 10 years, we have invested in more than 900 companies. We have more than 130 companies working with Telefónica. And here you can see the figures, the investment figures coming from Telefónica. Wayra has invested $50 million euros in startups. And those startups have been able to raise more than 600 million from third-party investors. And Telefónica Ventures, 130 million committed to investments and more than 1.5 billion euros raised by our portfolio. And this is like a way of validating our investment thesis. So in all this story and after or below these figures, there are also many failure investments and many things that we did it wrong. And I like to say that open innovation, it's something that no one knows how to do perfectly, so it's also a matter of trial and error. Unfortunately, in many Latin cultures, we are pretty much risk averse, and I think public bodies and governments, they should be also pushing and supporting the private sector in order to evangelize and to accept failure as a way of learning. And in that regard, I've seen the European Commission in the past year, so when they started supporting entrepreneurship in 2012 and 2013, they have financed many communication campaigns in order to show young people that failing is okay as long as you learn from your failures. And the most successful entrepreneurs, they have failed at the beginning. So this is something that we have to overcome. Here we have some of the success cases of companies invested by Wayra and by our venture capital tools. Many of them entered our programs being just an idea over a PPT presentation, and now they have valuations over 50 million or 100 million, and we're pretty much proud of that, of having walked this path with them and having grown with them. Our investment offering in Wayra, it's up to 250K in each of the companies that we're supporting, and we provide them with business development opportunities, as I was saying. And also, they can leverage all our infrastructure and use our hubs as soft landing spaces in any of the countries to which they want to expand. They can also leverage our community and all the capacities that I have mentioned before. We do not like to invest alone. We usually like to co-invest with leading venture capitals who can kind of ensure that the return on investment will be attractive to all the investors, and we want to be advisors of the companies. We do not want to have a major control. We just want to grow with them and learn from them. So, and we basically invest in startups ready to scale. I think this is an important learning from Telefónica that we should share with other big companies and with traditional corporates, because at the beginning, when they start doing venture capital, they tend to invest in very young companies, and very young companies are not prepared to work with big corporates. Why? Because we big corporates are really, really slow. And they do not have enough financial muscle or enough, a big enough team in order to devote resources to corporations. So they have to be very much focused on defining their product and defining their business model before working with a big one. So that's why when we started investing, we invested 50K, and that allowed us to enter very seed stage companies, and that's why we switched that to 250K. which allows us to enter already mature companies or more mature companies that have presence in many countries or that have already a validated business model and recurrent revenues. So we usually invest in focus areas of Telefónica because those companies operating in those areas are the ones that we can help better. And that said, yeah, collaboration is everything to us. So we really believe that partners make us stronger. They extend our reach. They help us improve our value proposition to entrepreneurs and to startups. And yeah, we also learn from them. And as said, in the open innovation industry, no one has the perfect formula. So learning from third parties is a super valuable asset and brings competitive advantages to your business. We usually receive support from governments because Telefónica has been an early mover in terms of deploying infrastructure and resources to entrepreneurs. And in that regard, I think that all the governments know that they should be creating and supporting talent and helping new companies to rise. So that's why, yeah, why they partner with us. As I was saying, we like also to learn from other industries, and you will see here in this slide many partners that work with us and with whom we have developed verticalized business development or investment programs for startups. I will show you a couple of examples that I'm proud of. One is with GCHQ, which is the National Cybersecurity Agency for the UK government. We have been running for them for more than 4 years. They're a startup accelerator. We jointly identify companies that might be useful to Telefónica and to the UK government, and not only to both of us, but also to other third parties that Telefónica brings into these programs, so that we can support their growth, leverage their technologies, and increase our value proposition and the customer experience. That on Telefónica's side. On the UK government, for sure, it's a matter of national importance. No, taking care of the cybersecurity of their citizens, so they're always looking into what's happening in the next generation technologies for cybersec. Those are some of the figures around this program. We also have developed many programs, for example, around e-health with the National Health System of the UK and with Novartis, but also with many other e-health companies in order to detect e-health solutions, wellness solutions, because we believe in those traditional sectors there's a big space still to do things more efficiently and to improve customer experience and the support. So, as a closing, I would like to share with you some feedback that, for example, the national Spanish ecosystem gave to the government when they were proposing the next law to support entrepreneurship. I think, so at that moment, the Spanish ecosystem told the government that it could be interesting to explore the chance of delivering tax benefits to all the venture capital ecosystem or to all the venture capital investors, both business angels, venture capital firms, and also corporates that are doing open innovation and that are investing in startups. Basically, R&D is something that has received tax support from every government, and I think this is even more important than the internal R&D. This is incentivizing support and finance to entrepreneurs and to innovators. So this will allow to lower barriers in order to have innovative, for example, operators. If we're talking about the tourism industry, we can generate rules and regulations that can help to act as single markets, or at least jumping barriers between one country to another on a quicker basis. And basically they can help and support in the adoption of new technologies in every country. And another recommendation that I would like to share, it's, as I have shared the couple of examples before, we really think that governments and public bodies could support acceleration and business development programs that are specific to an entire sector. In this regard, I think cooperative programs in which different players of the tourism industry can innovate together would really bring a lot of value to the whole value chain. In that regard, I think so. Programs that might gather together maybe airlines, operators, railway system, hotel companies. This is the way to change the whole value chain of the tourism industry, and I think this is the best way to learn one from other and to remain competitive. This is something that we have done in the past, and it has worked for us, and I think this is something that every country should be exploring. And basically, yeah, this is our learning, what I wanted to share. I know I'm the last speaker, so I do not want to take any more time from you. Just saying thanks again in the name of Telefónica for spending your morning here. And yeah, open to any question.
Can I have a question? Is it Telefónica established Wayra, or Wayra is part of? How did it start this, let's say?
Telefónica is wholly owned. Wayra is wholly owned by Telefónica. It's an initiative that was launched by our current chairman, by José María Álvarez Payete, in 2011. And at that time, it was when the new telecommunication platforms started arising, such as WhatsApp and all the mobile applications. So from one year to another, the whole telco industry saw how 20% or 50% of the revenues which were coming from the SMEs disappeared from one day to another. So he envisioned that we should do things differently and have more solid services and value propositions. That's why we launched that, Wayra. So
it was not like a venture capital and then, like, let's say, acquisition of, let's say, one startup. So Wayra was directly established, or partly?
no, it's the legal figure. It's a limited company, so a limited responsibility company, and yeah, we do not act as a venture capital or pure venture capital. We do invest in companies, but yeah, from Telefónica. We also have the Telefónica Innovation Ventures, which are proper funds and that also act as fund of funds, so they invest in different funds. So I said, yeah, we want to build like an end-to-end view to open innovation and to innovators. To you, thank you very much, and yeah, have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Agustin. Thank you so much for your patience. It's been a long morning, especially for those who have been traveling all night. Some of you are, and the people who are online as well. We appreciate your patience and to stick with us up to now. We hope that you enjoy these sessions. We try to balance the foundations of FDI as well with these new very practical strategies and platforms as well. We want to thank you all for your participation. Appreciate also and thanks the people from Telefónica and Wayra, Maria Jose and Agustin. Thank you so much for hosting us today here. We really appreciate it. And thank you for our speakers as well for coming all the way from Switzerland, from the UK, and also for all the participants coming from everywhere else. Thank you so much. We hope to see you tomorrow. If you are still in Madrid, we have our SDGs global competition, and we are going to have a very packed agenda as well. But everything else will be posted in our websites, and the materials will be sent also to your emails as well. Thank you so much, and stay safe. Thank you.